with my fellow co-host, Ariel Schaefer, and then a special guest, Courtney Harden. This is going to be a segment where we're going to go over all the latest NFL news, NFL scores, college football, NBA, and some other big things that are happening right now in the sports world. So, Courtney, thanks for joining us today. And how are you and your family doing?
Family is good. Thank you guys for inviting me on the show. I really appreciate it. What's good, Ariel? How you doing? And Nathan?
Good.
I'm glad to help you guys out and be a guest on your show. I'm super excited.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, Ariel has all like a paper.
I saw her notes.
Yeah.
I think the inner broadcaster and the sideline reporter in me taking over because I haven't done a sideline show in like a year or so.
Right.
Because of COVID. Actually, no. Okay. In March it'd be my last sideline show, and I haven't done it in a hotbed in 3 months till March. So a lot of things have happened. So I needed to get all my notes out. So, but all right, we had a lot of things going on, and then yesterday, we had NFL yesterday. We had, obviously championship Saturday for college football, and then the rankings came out today. So our top 4 who are playing for the college football playoff is Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. So, I mean, guys, what do you think about those 4? Do you believe that all 4 of those teams belong in this playoff?
Oh, yeah. Want me to start this one?
Yeah, Courtney, you look like you had something to say, so we're going to start with you.
Courtney, you're the guest, so you start off.
Okay, I can definitely start off. Thanks. That's a good question too, Ariel. Man, Notre Dame. I saw what you put on Twitter yesterday, Ariel, about Notre Dame. Soon as they get so close, and then they fall, and then they get crushed by Clemson. So I think going into this game, Trevor Lawrence didn't play the first game that they played, and they, that was a double overtime thriller, triple overtime, yes. I believe, something like that they lost. It was very close, and then they said, okay, Trevor Lawrence didn't play. Okay, we get it. They lose. Then they play in the ACC championship, and Notre Dame gets smacked. So they got smacked big time. So so they lose. They lose one game. They lose to Clemson, and Clemson's one of the best teams in the college football. So do I think they deserve to be there? I guess it's a toss-up. I guess you could say, okay, they lose one game. They lose to Clemson, one of the best teams. But if Notre Dame, if they're considered one of the best teams, they should have put up a bigger fight against Clemson. Yeah. If it was close, I would think they should be number 4.
Yes.
But since they got beat down, now do you say, okay, now are they one of the best 4 teams in the league in college? I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to say. I don't think they should be number 4. They probably should have been 5th or 6th because they lose. Because I think now they have to play Alabama, which they're probably going to get smacked again.
Yeah.
And they've done this a couple of times before, where they have a really good season, and when they play against teams that are fully healthy and at full strength, they show that they can't compete. So I don't think they got the right 4 in this one. And Ohio State too, only playing 6 games. That's another question. Do they deserve to be there? I know they were 6-0 and they played enough games, but I don't know if this is the right 4. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Nathan, what do you think?
I mean, I'm surprised that Texas A&M didn't get in after that big win, but I can understand where the committee is coming from. But the one question for me is Ohio State. Like Courtney said, they only played 6 games, and they haven't played top competition in those 6 games, I think, in my opinion. So I don't know why they got in. But obviously Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame actually, even though they got blown out, I agree with what the community did with Notre Dame. But Ohio State, I have questions with. I don't really like that. And in my opinion, they should just expand the playoffs to 8 teams. And it's unfair. It's not fair. And there's a lot of great teams that are behind these rankings. And like I said, Texas A&M deserved it. But I mean, I guess the committee is looking at something different, but in their own eyes. But let's see.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Texas A&M, they played better in the second half of the year. They had that first game was close with Vanderbilt. I think the final score was 17-12, and Vanderbilt is the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah.
And then, they also had that, they had that loss to Florida. 41-38 close game with Florida. They also had the loss to Bama in the beginning of the year. They lost to them by 28. So you have those 2 losses over Ohio State's like, okay, yeah, they haven't played as many games and maybe not as many quality games, but if you look at the point differentials, like Ohio State for the most part won by at least 2 touchdowns for the most of their games. And then also too, Ohio State's a conference champion. Texas A&M is not. If Texas A&M made it to the SEC championship, they can't. The same divisions. But if, they beat Alabama or if they got into some sort of championship, then yeah, it's a no-brainer. I just think Texas A&M, I wanted them in over Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame is very special. However, they only had that 1 loss, which was they got blown out yesterday. To me, shows more because Texas A&M had a great second half of the season, but unfortunately, I think it was too late. But I definitely think Alabama and Clemson, those are your top 2 teams. Ohio State Conference Championship, I think that's why they were going to put them in. And then it was a toss-up between Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and then Oklahoma State too. I thought that was someone who was it was Oklahoma State, right?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma, right?
It was number 6. Okay, make sure I got that correct. But, I think it's going to come down to Alabama, Clemson. That's good for Alabama because they don't have to play Ohio State. I think that's to go to where if Clemson was number 4. I didn't know how they were going to go. But that should be a must-win for Alabama. I think they're going to blow them out. But then if you put Alabama and Clemson again in the national championship. I think it's going to be a good game offensively, but my thing is, okay, yeah, they had Trevor Lawrence back on the offensive side, and that guy creates plays, and Alabama has to be really careful because he can run. He's a running quarterback. He could throw, but he's really good at running. He had a 34-yard running touchdown yesterday. Notre Dame had no idea how to stop that. But Alabama's defense, I think, can overpower them maybe. But Clemson, I don't think their defense is that great. And we saw that with the loss of Notre Dame. They didn't have people out on defense against Notre Dame. And I think their defense got lucky yesterday that Notre Dame wasn't on offensively. That's my personal opinion. And obviously it might sound a little bit biased because obviously I go to Alabama. But that's kind of how I think. But speaking of Alabama, the Heisman race. I think Najee yesterday was like, hold up. Wait a minute. You better not start those count the books yet. He had 5 touchdowns, 31 carries, 410 yards, which is an SEC championship record. He had over 150 yards in a quarter and a half. He was 33 for 43 yesterday. This guy deserves some talk. So let's talk about the Heisman race here. What do you guys thought? And Nathan, I know I interrupted you with the stat lines. I had it written down. I wanted to say it. But what do you think with the whole Heisman race? How does this affect? Because Alabama could have possibly 3 people considered.
Courtney, go.
Yeah, you're right. They got enough people to consider. They have to be considered. But some of the seasons that they've had, but I think this is Trevor Lawrence's award. I think the college wants to give it to Trevor Lawrence anyway. I think from the beginning the hype was there. The hype is real. He's a really good, a really good quarterback. They started talking about maybe a generational quarterback. We'll see once he gets into the league. But I think this is Trevor Lawrence's. This was his season, unprecedented season that with college football what it's been. And he's been consistent throughout all year, even him missing, I think he missed 2 games with COVID, I believe, 2 or 3 games, and he still put up huge numbers. But they're the number 2 ranked team right now. So I think you got to still give it to Trevor Lawrence. But all those Alabama guys, as you said, they got to be considered. They have to be. They have to be. But I got to give it. I think Trevor Lawrence is head and above shoulders over everybody else. Now, that's not saying that he should be a runaway, but I think he's gonna get it because I know college they want to give it to him anyway, and then he's gonna be the number 1 pick. Maybe not with the Jets now. I know we're gonna probably talk about that. They get their first win. So, but Jacksonville they might get the number 1 pick too. So Trevor Lawrence is gonna more likely be the number 1 or get the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. I agree. But here's the thing: Alabama has 2 offensive stars with Najee Harris and Smitty, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
I tweeted yesterday, put some freaking respect on Najee Harris's name. This guy is a stud. This guy, dude, I'm telling you, I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, but he could potentially be another Derrick Henry in the future in the NFL. This is how good he is, and obviously he showed it last night. So I know that Trevor Lawrence is going to get all the hype. This is the one thing I always get worried about, because they only talk about these the superstars and the hype players. Talk about these inspiring stories like Najee Harris, Smitty, Kyle Trask, a Pond from Texas A&M even should be in there, and also Justin Fields. No one talk about him anymore, and I'd rather have a long list instead of talking about these hype players, right? So I think Trevor Lawrence, like I agree with Courtney. Trevor Lawrence, I hate to say this, I think he'll get it, but just have consideration for Smitty and Najee Harris and the other names I just mentioned. So
I think it's gonna go to Lawrence for the Heisman. But my dad brought up a good point. Like, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is definitely, I forget the name of the award because I'm still learning these awards. I think he might get the Maxwell Award. Best offensive. I think Maxwell is best offensive player or something. The Heisman is a thing of everything, because that's of it all, kind of renaissance man of college football, I kind of feel like. And I mean, it may seem kind of biased because it's normally quarterbacks and it's normally offensively, but I mean that's how Jalen Hurts got in. I mean, Jalen had some good stats, but that's why he got into the Heisman race, and that's why he finished runner-up, because he is so inspiring that I think that's why he overtook, Fields last year in the Heisman race. And then who else was in there? It was Burrow, it was Fields, it was Hurts, it was another quarterback. Who was it? Was it
from last year?
From last year, it was Burrow obviously won. Jalen Hurts finished second.
I think
Justin Fields.
Justin
Fields in it?
Fields, and there was one more.
Justin Fields was in it, right?
Yeah, there was another quarterback. It was 4 quarterbacks. Who was it?
Oh man,
it wasn't Trevor. It might have been. I don't know if it wasn't Trevor Lawrence. I don't think.
I'll look it up right now.
No, Trevor. Did he get it? Look it up, because anyway. But I think that's why
2009 Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, please look that up, because I feel like I should know this. Oh, goof, that wasn't on my notes.
No, you're good. All good. I can't remember it either.
Yeah, but I think that's why Jalen finished second, because it's kind of like a renaissance man.
It was only the 2019 Heisman finalists were Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Chase Young, and Jalen.
Chase Young. There we go. We had 2 teammates. Yeah, Chase Young. I stand by Chase Young. I mean, I know there's a lot of. I love Chase Young. I think he's so good. He would be if we look, there's so many good rookies this year in the NFL. He is kind of one of my top 3 of rookie of the year, but there's a lot of good people in the NFL for that position. But I definitely think the Heisman's going to go to Lawrence at the end of the day. That's your guy. That's your poster child of college football, and that the Heisman is the poster award of college football. So at the end of the day, it's going to go to Lawrence. But all right, let's move on to the NFL. We had a lot of close games today, and we have one going on right now. Yep. So all right, we start with last night. We had the Packers and the Panthers. Pretty good game, but Packers, we all knew that one was going to go in. But let's let me have Nathan get his whole thing out with the whole Cowboys ordeal. Let's let him hype himself up. But, in my tweet, I said I was going to roast the Cowboys. I decided to take that back. But the only thing I'm going to say is the only reason why Dallas is still alive, well, 2 reasons. Number one, they have a crappy division, really bad. That playoff race, and the fact that, the Eagles at the record they had 4-8-1 were even considered for the playoffs. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Terrible.
Terrible. It's a very weird
NFC least, as Annie Ager puts it. NFC least.
It is the NFC least.
Absolutely terrible. But I mean, the only reason, and the second reason is this: CD Lamb. That's all I'm gonna say. That is one of the only reasons why the Cowboys are still pretty good, is because of CD Lamb.
It's not only CD Lamb. It's the defense too. I think the defense has been picking it up. I think we've been playing better on defense. Even though we gave up 33 points today, we had 4 takeaways today. the takeaways are much better from the first 6 games of the season to now. That's the biggest difference. And obviously, when Zeke is out, Tony Pollard came up big today. So that our backup running back. It's not only CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, I know that he's going to be a star in the league. It's the whole team, and I still feel confident in the Cowboys. And like I said, sorry, Courtney, for making that hype video. I had to do it just to throw shade at everyone. That just for fun. But I think the only way we make the playoffs is if Washington loses next week against Carolina. That we need Washington to lose against Carolina, and we need the Giants to lose tonight. So if those two happen, and then if we're playing Eagles next week, so obviously Jalen Hurts put on a show today. I love what he did. But,
yes, he did.
But the Cowboys, I think if we beat Philly, that's the only way we're going to get into the playoffs. So we need a lot of things happening. But, I mean, I'm confident.
Yeah.
I'm not confident in the Eagles or the Cowboys. Not at all. Like that's just the division. I mean, if whoever comes out of this division, I don't see anybody getting far in the playoffs at all. Giants, the Washington football team. Like I said, we were talking about this before. It's still funny to say the Washington football team, WFT.
I call the Washington no names at this point.
Yeah, they're no names.
True. They have no names. So.
Right, no names, right. And then my Eagles and your Cowboys. I don't see. I mean, the Eagles put up a good fight today.
Hurts,
he balled out.
I agree with Ariel. He's gonna be a star in the league. And,
he balled out. And I know we were talking about this on my show last week. We were talking about Jalen Hurts, and Ariel, you asked me about how do I feel about Jalen Hurts, and I'm becoming more of a believer each week that he could actually be the long-term starter. And he put on a show. I mean, Carson Wentz. There's that report that came out earlier about Wentz not wanting to be. I get it from a competitive standpoint. He wants to be the starter, but you got to be a better teammate too. You got to, you still got a chance to be the starter next year, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So I don't know what's going to happen, but if Jalen Hurts can just even rip off a couple of these wins, it was a tough loss today, but he's playing inspiring football. He's rallying the players. They're playing with much energy with him in there, he made some mistakes today, but that's just him being a rookie. And they're playing with a decimated offensive line. And there was a stat that they had 13 different offensive lines. It's a record, 13 different offensive line. And Kelsey's the only starter from day one. And so it's unbelievable how much, their offensive lines are decimated. So, but the Eagles, they're just who they are. They're 4. I think they're 4-8-1 or 4-9-1 now. Yeah. Something terrible. So, but I would pump the brakes on the Cowboys. A great win for them, but pump the brakes on. But hey, you take the wins while you can, and they still got a chance to win the division. Terrible division.
I actually going back to the Carson Wentz point. Excuse me. I already have a team for him that's a perfect fit, and everybody's been saying it too. The Colts. Because Frank Wright. I think
Frank Wright. Yep.
The Colts need, obviously Rivers is not the long-term solution, so I think the Colts need to get Carson Wentz in that team because underneath Frank Wright, I think Frank Wright can make him into a great quarterback, in my opinion, coming from the Eagles.
See, I don't want him on my team. Sorry, I'm a Colts fan.
Oh, you're a Colts fan. That's right.
I do not want Wentz on my team. And I just think he's kind of getting up there. Besides throwing the ball, he needs to have protection. And besides throwing the ball, I don't think there's anything left. And in this league, especially when you see with the rookie quarterbacks, they can run. Right. They can create opportunities. They're very creative with their footwork and their spacing. They see the blitz. There's so many things that they do. And I just think he's getting old. That's what I kind of think of Tom Brady too. I think they're getting older. And I'm not saying these aren't good football players. I just think they're losing their creativity, and the game of football is changing. Once Lawrence comes in there, I can't wait to see what he does. He runs and throws. And that's with going back to Jalen Hurts, he's younger. He's 22 years old. He has the ability to move, and also he is fresh though. That dive in, play he made at the end where he was tackled with his ankles, basically almost broke his ankles and literally stretched out, and the muscle it took. Well, yeah, he's 23 years old. He's fresh. He also did get sacked 47 times or something. this year like Wentz was. Wentz was sacked like 40-something times before.
Yeah, 50 times now.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
50
insane.
times, yeah.
That's a lot on the body. And I just don't know if he can negotiate a deal as big as he did with the performance he has. And the one thing I hate about the media, and we're in this business, but
Yep.
why did they have to release a story like that? Like they knew that make him look so bad. Like in my head, I'm like, did the producers have nothing else to like think about? Like, do they have nothing else to cover? Like that makes him look so bad. Not in front of his teammates, but also too like, and also like I think of it like it's a job for them. It's kind of risking their reputation. And I'm not saying like what he said wasn't okay. Like I mean, I think that's a bad teammate, whatever. But he's also has to be a little selfish because at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, he's made a lot of money, but like. That's putting his, food on the table for his family, to supplying his family, like he's bringing the income for his family. So you know what I mean? With that point, like, I just thought that was just not okay. I was like, why did they have to release that right before the game? Like they love the drama between Jalen and Carson Wentz. And of course, like when Jalen got drafted to Eagles, Carson Wentz was like, congrats, man. Can't wait to have you on the team. Jalen quote tweets it and says, yeah, man, I'm going for your spot. And someone brought it up yesterday and they quote tweeted and said, LOL. So, I mean, of course, like in sports, you love that drama. But, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the Cowboys, take on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles next week. I want to talk about the Bucs and the Falcons. I want everyone's opinion on Tom Brady. I said early.
So wait, did the Bucs win that game or lose that game?
They won.
They came back.
Okay. They came back. And okay, everyone's like, oh, Tom Brady coming back. Tom Brady is only good with his accessories, like someone like Gronk. And I think that's why he brought Gronk out of retirement because I don't know if it should be Brady's last hoopla. Like I think he personally should have retired as a Patriot. But I understand wanting to try something new, do something, but it's just different team, different environment, a chance to be great someone else, and he was the greatest all time. But you really don't mention his name isn't that popular anymore, to be honest. Like, do you guys think he still should play? Like, how many more years are you guys giving him? Because I think he should be done in like 2 years.
I give him one more year, actually, Tom Brady. But the thing is with Tom Brady, you can never count him out. Like he still is Tom Brady. He's still the GOAT. He still can make plays, but you see the cliff. You see the cliff falling. Like he's 43, 40, 44, something like that. So, yes, nobody beats Father Time. No athlete beats Father Time at all. Father Time beats all of us. It beats us. It beats, athletes. It beats us all. So, but for him, what he did to Atlanta, we knew it was Atlanta. They lose leads all the time. So it was only a matter of time before, he was going to make a comeback. But I still think Brady still got a little bit left in the tank. Now, can he come out of the, link into the Super Bowl? I don't think so. But he does have a lot of weapons. I think now Bruce Arians is now using him like he should use him. He's not a deep ball. He's not a deep thrower, of the pass anymore. Can't throw it deep anymore. You have to play to Tom Brady's strengths now as he's older. So he's got to, throw it, those intermediate routes, those short routes, and then occasion play action, throw it over the top. But you get, Bruce Arians got to, now just got to adjust. This is Tom Brady still Tom Brady. Still gives you the best chance to win. Can they be a contender in the playoffs? I think they'll be okay because they still have a pretty solid defense. And you said Tom Brady does have weapons on the outside. He's never had that type of weapons in New England. As much success he's had, he's never had that type of weapons except for Randy Moss and Gronk. And Gronk's over there, as you said. So I think they can be contenders, but I think there's teams that are better than them. I think Seattle can be better than them. New Orleans is better than them in the NFC.
Green Bay.
Green Bay is definitely – with Aaron Rodgers, that bad man himself, Aaron Rodgers, might be an MVP. So there's like 3 or 4 teams, but I would never count out Brady.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think Tom Brady, I see him at least probably playing 1 more year, 2 more years probably, most likely. I mean, in Tampa's situation, they still don't have the chemistry down. To be honest, it's really concerning. Obviously, with the season ending. they're not going to go far in the playoffs, in my opinion. I think they're a first round team. So I think here's the thing. I don't know if the Buccaneers will do this, but I brought up another interesting theory when I was thinking about something. And Bruce Arians, I know that he's a good coach, but if I were the Buccaneers, why not just call New England, go get Josh McDaniels in Tampa Bay? Obviously, he has success with Tom Brady, so I think Tom Brady wouldn't mind that, and I think Tom Brady would, as a star player in the team, he would do that. Go there, go to Tampa, say, let's get Josh McDaniels in here, get the same offense, and maybe that will click for them. But to be honest, Bruce Arians, I know that he's using him the right way now, but it's too late. So if they bring in like Josh McDaniels, who knows Tom Brady more, maybe that can help them in the future, in the short term, in my opinion.
And just to add to that, like if Bruce Arians, he has such an ego, it's almost like I don't want to make any changes. They got to change to me to fit my system. But you got to be a coach sometimes where your system has to fit the player has to fit the player. You know what you were getting with Tom Brady. You got an older veteran, one of the best, if not the best quarterback ever. And you knew what you were getting. Like I said, this is Tom freaking Brady. You got to still like adjust to what he does. Yes, he's fallen off from what he was 5 years ago, 7 years ago. He's not that same guy, but he's still Tom Brady. He still can give you a good chance to advance in the playoffs. So you have to adjust to what he's capable of now. And I think he's doing it now. And I guess in the right matchup, Tampa Bay could be a problem in the playoffs, but I think there's still 2 or 3 teams that are ahead of them, but they could surprise. You just never know. So it's any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, another point here. I think I don't know why they're not utilizing all the weapons they have. I mean, obviously Antonio Brown had a touchdown today. I saw that, but I think that they need to utilize more of the weapons, like the running backs they have. Leonard Fournette. Where's McCoy at? Bring in McCoy. Use him. Use Scotty. Where's Scotty Miller at? I haven't heard his name in a while. Scotty Miller. He reminds me of Edelman from New England. So why not Tom Brady uses him? So I think Tom Brady needs to utilize all these weapons, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, all good stuff. And, we're getting into the height of the season. So it's very exciting, with everything with COVID too. Like, I think we're hopefully over that hump of COVID. So no more, no more games get jeopardized. But I want to go from the field now to the hardwood. We're going to go to the NBA. We're finally going to start the season.
2 more days. Let's go.
We got some Christmas Day games. I wanted to talk about a couple preseason things. What did we like out of all the teams? What are some expectations? What are some common themes that you guys saw? Courtney, I'm going to start with you.
And we got our show coming up tomorrow. So shout out to Ariel. We'll be on the show with the All Ladies podcast. I said I got to get her on. This is right up her wheelhouse. So NBA is my favorite sport. So I've been watching NBA for I'm aging myself at 30 plus years. So I know a little something about the NBA, but I'm looking forward to the All Ladies show tomorrow. So check that out. There's so many storylines. I'll start with the first James Harden storyline. I think it depends on I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know if I think he starts in Houston. I don't know if he's going to play the entire season in Houston. Where does he go? I think that's a huge storyline. The whole thing of he wants out. Does he go to Brooklyn? Does he go to Philly? Does he go to Milwaukee? Where does James Harden go? I think that's a huge storyline. Another storyline, I believe, Giannis got his money. He signed a Supermax deal. So now he's a 2-time MVP. So does he get over the hump now and gets to a final? So I think that's a huge storyline. Another one, can the Lakers repeat? I believe they will. I believe at least they get to the championship. I think that's a big storyline. Can LeBron's still chasing Jordan. Now he's all about championships. So that's another storyline. They just re-signed Anthony Davis, 5-year deal. They just basically their team just got much stronger. So now LeBron can just kind of sit back and allow Anthony Davis to be the number 1 guy, and then LeBron can come in and do what he does. So they got a deep team. So the Lakers are going to be tough. Can anybody dethrone them? And I think the last one is Brooklyn. I think that's a huge storyline as well. Can Kyrie and KD, can they stay healthy? They looked good in the preseason. So now with a shortened 72-game season, can they actually – they're going to be a problem in the East if they're healthy and they click and they get their chemistry right. So I think those are 4 of the biggest storylines I look forward to in the NBA.
Yeah, so for me, I'll start with the Brooklyn Nets. I mentioned this on Courtney's NBA show. Like I said, one word, Brooklyn. I'm on the Brooklyn bandwagon here.
Brooklyn.
I had the Nets and the Lakers in the finals. I already made my finals predictions, and I think with the Brooklyn end of it, there's no weakness. That's why I said on the show, do not mess with this team. Do not trade for Harden yet. Let's see what happens in the beginning of the season. This team is freaking loaded. If you think about it, their third-string players could be potential starting fives on other bad teams. That's how good they are. And that's what I like about this Nets team. And obviously, Caris LeVert, this guy, they're going to play him in the Manu Ginobili role in San Antonio where he came off the bench. So I see Caris LeVert coming off the bench in some games and starting. But Kevin Durant, man, he's 100% back. I'm not going to say he's 95%. He's 100% back. He got the bounce back. He can dunk. He's dunking. He's shooting. Man, this Nets team is going to be a problem in the East. So that's one storyline I like about. The other one is obviously James Harden. I agree with Courtney that he might start with this Houston during the season, beginning of the season. But my boy Scoop B, if you guys know Brandon Scoop Robinson, he's a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
I had him on the show a couple times, and we did a show together a couple times. But he does great stuff, and he's one of the best reporters out there, and he gets stuff out there quick. So he's been reporting that the Nets are engaged with the Houston Rockets again, potentially with the third team, unnamed team, he said. So I wonder how far that's going to go. But I expect Harden to start the season in Houston and see where that goes. But that's another headline. And obviously Giannis getting the bag. That's big for –
He got the bag.
Yeah, that's big for Milwaukee, big for the fans. I'm really happy for him because Milwaukee is a great city to play in. And obviously he's not a big market. But if you have Giannis there, you can get potential free agents to come there. So and plus the Bucks are in the Harden sweepstakes too. So don't be surprised if Harden goes there at some point. That's another headline. And obviously the Lakers, can they repeat? Obviously they have a loaded team too. Marc Gasol, Wesley Matthews. I love what they did. And the one team that really intrigues me in the NBA this year is the Atlanta Hawks. I think they improved a lot with Dino Gallinari. They got Rondo now and Bojan Bogdanovic. Trae Young, obviously a star. I'm really looking forward to see what they have, and I mean, I'm just excited for the season. Let's go.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but just one more is the Golden State Warriors. Losing Clay, because I was all in on the Warriors this season. I thought okay, they're getting Clay back. They've had all this time off because they didn't go to the bubble. They had Steph Curry's coming back healthy. They had the number 2 pick, James Wiseman. I thought that was a good pickup. And so they had their big 3 coming back with Draymond, Clay, and Steph with Andrew Wiggins and then Wiseman. So I'm like, okay, let's see what the Warriors could do. They would have been huge contenders against the Lakers. I really believe that with them being healthy. But now Clay goes down again with another devastating injury. So now can Curry be Chef Curry? Is he going to be able to still cook? And he's been doing it in the preseason, but now can he lead this team? He can still do it. It's going to be tough, but, Steve Kerr's a great coach. Like I said, I think the rest helped Curry because they've been playing in the finals the last 5 years, besides last 5 years. So that was a lot of toll on their bodies. And now can Curry stay healthy? And if he can he become that MVP Curry, what he was a couple years ago? I still believe in Steph Curry, one of my favorite players in the league. And he's box office. So if he can lead this team, can they get far? It's questionable, but because the West is so loaded, I don't know if they can get past the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets. I think those are the top 3 in the West, but it's a crapshoot after that. So I think that's a huge other storyline. Can Curry lead this team to a final, or to at least a conference final?
Yeah, I mean, I love how you said box office, and
Yeah.
With that, I feel like overall in the West, for the most part, I think, there's big teams like your winning team is like you have, LeBron, you're gonna have, my biggest teams this year are gonna be, Kawhi and all of them. I do like them. Brooklyn, I like Brooklyn. I do think they're gonna end up on top. But don't forget about the Heat. Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
Yeah, don't forget about the Heat. That's someone you got to keep your eye on. And the Lakers are gonna be great. Milwaukee's gonna be good. The Mavs are definitely contenders.
Also, don't forget the Denver Nuggets too. Put the Denver Nuggets in there.
The Nuggets, but I would ask this question right here. Based on early season prediction, who do you think is going to be the biggest flops this year in the NBA? Name your top 3 flops.
Top 3
And this
flops.
Could be team-wise, and this can be player-wise.
Let me think real quick. Biggest flop. That's a good question. That's a real good question. See, this is why we have Ariel here, because she just asked this stumped me, and I usually don't get stumped.
She came prepared. I didn't come prepared.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know where she was going with this. But man, let me think of this. Let's see. You know what? I'll say this: the Clippers. I don't know if they're going to be the flops, because they were the flops last season.
Mm-hmm.
I was all in on the Clippers last season. I had them and the Bucks in the finals last year. So I figured, okay, they, with them coming back to the bubble, they got some rest with the stoppage. So they were to me the contenders out west, but they showed their hand. Like, the chemistry wasn't there. I don't know if it was coaching. It was a little bit of everything. I don't think their heads were there. Can they flop again? It's possible. It's totally possible. They got a new coach. They got Ty Lue. So maybe Ty Lue can unlock some different things, and now they got their second run. So, but, that's a tough one. I got to really think about it. That's a good question. Maybe the Clippers. I don't know. I'm just going through the teams. Don't think Boston will be a flop. I don't think Philly will be. Philly's got a lot of pressure. I know that's your squad, Ariel, but
Philly might be a flop. They always flop at the end of the year.
Yeah, they got pressure. Let me if I go with another question with it, it's like, okay, who could be a bigger disappointment? Who got the most pressure? Philly's got a lot of pressure. I think Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, then with the trade, maybe with James Harden. I don't know if that still moves the needle for them either.
100%.
So I guess I'll take the question like that. Maybe they got the most pressure. I think James Harden has a lot of pressure on him. I'll go with that. Once I think about it a little bit, I think those will be a couple of them that might disappoint. But yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question, though, Ariel.
Like. She got us on this one.
I'm like a little devil's advocate here. You know what you guys like.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I love it.
I mean, for me, I guess I'm going to – all right, the biggest flop all right, team-wise, I think there's going to be the Clippers again, in my opinion. I think, to be honest, they have some kind of chemistry issue, which I don't know what it is. I don't know why obviously Paul George signed that extension, but Kawhi Leonard's his contract is up after the year. So this actually, I think, you know what? I think the Clippers have the most pressure out of any other team this year because they have to win. I think if the Clippers don't win this year, I can definitely see Kawhi Leonard leaving and going to another team. I mean, obviously he loves LA, but he wants to win, right? He wants to win championships. So if the Clippers fall short, I can see him leaving. So I think my biggest potential flop team is the Clippers. Potential flop player. Man,
it's tough. That's a tough question.
You
know what? I got to say,
we could think about this one and maybe do another show and come back on that.
Oh, you know, I'm down.
I didn't want to send you guys my questions before because I wanted you guys to think on the spot. Getting the best reactions out of people. So.
Could be the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets could be a flop. I mean, just for the simple fact is, okay, they got John Wall, Boogie Cousins.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got this whole baggage with James Harden. They could potentially lose Westbrook. They could be the flop. I don't think Brooklyn will be a flop. The only reason why I think they won't, maybe because of maybe the chemistry doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still a new team. Like, they're getting Kevin Durant back. I mean, this guy to me is still maybe the second best player when healthy, second best player in the league outside of LeBron. I mean, he's a walking bucket. I mean, this guy can score on anybody, anytime. And but if it doesn't work the first season, I think there's a lot of pressure on Brooklyn to get it done, which I don't think there should be that much pressure on it, but it's Kevin Durant and Kyrie. They want them to be they want them together. So there is I think there's pressure on those guys. I think Golden State has a lot of pressure. We were just talking about that with Golden State. I think there's still pressure on them. I think there's pressure on Phoenix. I think that may be another team. There's a lot of pressure on the Phoenix Suns to get Chris Paul. They missed the playoffs for the last 11 straight years, for 11 years. So it's now you get Chris Paul, the veteran who turned around OKC. Can he turn them around? They played well in the bubble, went 8-0 in the bubble. They're a young team. They got their veteran point guard now that can help Devin Booker, can help DeAndre Ayton. Can they make the playoffs? There's a lot of pressure on them too. So I think even with this question, it's a great question. You could even add in to say who got the most pressure. There's a lot of teams, a lot of players that have pressure. You talked about the Miami Heat. There's another one. They got to the finals, and some don't still believe in them. The Miami Heat. A lot of people think that they actually got lucky to make the finals. I don't think it was luck. And it would be the right time, but I think it's more of they just had a better team than everybody else at that time. They played the best basketball at the right time, and they got coaching, they got shooting, they got defense, they got Jimmy Butler leading the way. So Miami's going to be tough too. So yeah, it's going to be a real good season.
Yeah, I gotta think about that question more. And Ariel, you stumped us, man. I don't know, but I'm gonna say definitely for most special team is definitely the Clippers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, Ariel. Who do you think has the most? Yeah, let me flip this around. Who do you think has the most pressure, or might be the biggest flop?
My biggest flop, I mean, I think it's Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland's special without their star. Who do they have star power wise?
Kevin Love, that's it.
Yeah, but who's gonna be that guy in the locker room? Like, follow me, hop on my back, kind of how Michael Jordan was when we saw The Last Dance. Look what he did with that team. I mean, come on, like he's gonna be the guy. Like, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna be that person? And like Kevin Love, yeah, I like him. He's a good, solid player, but they don't have that leadership, with the coaching and with on the court. And it takes one person, to really lead the four other guys on that team, and they bounce off that energy. And I'm a Philly fan, diehard Philly fan, but my biggest flop player is going to be Ben Simmons.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
the man is great on defense, but the man cannot shoot the basketball to save his life. And I swear I don't understand why this is a big news headline that Ben Simmons attempts NBA 3. That's his job. Like,
I agree.
To attempt a 3, that's his job. He's getting paid the big bucks to score a basket. So I think he might flop again. Everyone is always so hard on me because I stand by Joel Embiid. I just think Embiid has the more leadership of that team, the more hype. Like, he gets everyone hyped up, and everyone kind of feeds off of Embiid's energy. If he's having a bad game, the team has a bad game. If he's having a great game, the team feeds off of it. He gets everyone hype. He gets the crowd hype. So that's why I think if you had that, the trading thing that's going on, I would trade Simmons over Embiid just for the whole offensive reason. Because, yes, I know offense wins games, defense wins championships, but not in the NBA. You got to score.
Yep.
You really do have to score. And I think he might be our biggest flop. But I'm hoping he'll surprise me. He never does. And I know people really might not agree with me on this, but I know he went to LSU, Ben Simmons. He was, he got pushed into the point guard position, which we talked about. That's not his role. And as a rookie, if he was still trying to figure out how to shoot and, he has to bring the ball up, that's his job. But, Steph Curry is one of the better defenders on the Warriors, and he can shoot from anywhere. So, and
Yeah.
he's your true point guard. So, I think Ben Simmons can be the same way. And Ben Simmons has the height too and the athleticism. Like, I just wish he would have confidence, I think I'm trying to say, on offense than on defense, because his shot is beautiful. He has great rotation,
Right.
great release. I just think he might be our biggest flop. He has a lot of pressure. I think he's definitely one of the players in the league who have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, I think that whole entire Sixers team have the pressure because now they blame coaching. They blame it was Brett Brown, which part of it was him. I
Maybe.
think and then I think part of it is Simmons and Embiid. Can they play together? Can they do they have the chemistry? Embiid, I think, has a lot of pressure too, only for the simple fact that he talks a big game and he sometimes delivers, sometimes he don't. But then there's other times he doesn't come in shape. He's injured. And it's like, okay, you got to produce. You're 7-footer with that type of skill set. Can shoot from the outside, can bully just about anybody on the block because he's one of the biggest players in the league. But now, can he take his game to the next level? Doc Rivers probably could do that. So that's why I don't think they're going to trade Ben Simmons for James Harden, because James Harden needs the ball in his hands constantly.
Yes.
And I think that would mess up the chemistry between that team. Now, James Harden's a very talented player, talented scorer. One of the best players in the league, but okay, he goes to Philly. Philly have to give up Ben Simmons, other pieces, and okay, now you're losing a lot of your team. Now you have Harden and Embiid. I still don't think it'll be enough even to win in the East. So I think that's another thing. I think they will keep Ben Simmons at least for one more year, see if they can do it with Doc. But there is pressure. Ben Simmons got to attempt the shot. You talk about him shooting, he got to attempt to shoot the basketball. That's the thing,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm so sick and tired of him being a role player. I want him to be the best player on.
Yeah, because he's talented. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely could be the best player in the NBA. He could be a Scottie Pippen, to be honest.
Yeah, got the height. Yeah,
amazing defense. He could be like Scottie Pippen. I'm definitely not like MJ though, because I feel like you have the comparison between LeBron and MJ all the time. But Simmons could be a next Scottie Pippen, maybe.
Only if he improves the shooting, then yeah.
Yeah. Attempt the shot. Attempt the shot outside of 5 feet.
Yeah, I think I have a tweet ready. It's in my drafts. People are gonna say, if people watch this, they're gonna say. But it says, all I want for Christmas is for Ben Simmons to attempt a shot.
Yes.
That's what my tweet says. So maybe I'll go viral. But my last question for the NBA before we hit our last segment.
I got one thing on the Sixers. The one thing I like about the Sixers is the depth this year. Danny Green, Seth Curry, I love. And then your favorite player, Ariel, Dwight Howard. So
Dwight.
I think
I'm a big Howard girl. So,
I think the Sixers' depth will come and play this year for that team.
Yeah,
so.
It's exciting. It's exciting in Philly. It's like trust the process, and I'm like, I've been trusting for 6 freaking years, man.
Yes.
6 freaking years, And
yep.
I just we need that. We need that in Philly because with the Eagles not sure. The Phillies are a mess. Yeah. The Flyers, are hanging in there. So, we'll get that. But so Christmas, it's the best present I think 2020 could give us is LeBron versus Luca. This is gonna be good. I was so excited when I saw this release. I was like, thank you.
Yes.
What do you guys think is gonna happen, with this game? Because Luca, that boy is amazing, unbelievable. Just the way he can control the floor is unbelievable. And LeBron is trying to go down as one of the best of all time. So Nathan, what do you think? You lead on this first, LeBron versus Luca. Who do you think is going to take that Christmas Day crown?
I got to go with the Lakers. So it's going to be a good game, close, competitive game, and Luca. The one thing I love about Christmas games is everybody shows up that day and everybody has a lot of energy and the spirit is up. So I definitely can see a shootout in that game, and Luca having 30-plus points, LeBron having 30-plus points, Anthony Davis having a good I can't wait. This game is going to be it could be like a playoff atmosphere. Without fans, though, but it could be like a playoff atmosphere game. So.
Yeah. Courtney, what do you think?
Yeah, this is one of the marquee games of the Christmas the schedule, which when we saw it like a month ago, we were like, okay, this is a game. This could be one of the games. I think the Lakers might pull it off, just because LeBron likes to show out in Christmas, but Anthony Davis, he's the X factor. It's funny to say a guy like him is an X factor, but he is. He's a huge X factor. I said it when he's on the Lakers. I said it when he was in, when they won the championship, they went on a championship run. It's Anthony Davis. Like, he's the X factor. But Luca could win MVP. He's up there in the top contending MVPs because he just keeps improving. And this guy's one of the top 6, 7 players right now, and he arrived last season, his rookie year, really. Yeah. And the way you said, the way he could control the game at that point guard position, and now it's just all about he could play half court, he can run the floor, and the only thing he just has to prove is now is a little bit of his defense, and his jumper's just got to get a little bit consistent. But he has both of those qualities. The jumper is there. And but you look around and he's one of the best, like I said, one of the best players. Dallas is going to be a top contending team if they can stay healthy. If Porzingis can stay healthy, they definitely are going to be. That's a big if. But they took the Clippers. They gave the Clippers a run last year, and if it wasn't for if they had some good health, maybe they beat the Clippers. Maybe they upset the Clippers in the first round. It's possible, but I think Dallas will be a top 3-4 team in the West. But I think when it comes to primetime Christmas, that's usually LeBron's time, and I think the Lakers pull. I think they pull at least that win off, and yes, it's all about LeBron. It's still all about LeBron when it comes to NBA.
Well, no, will Porzingis? Yeah, Porzingis is not playing on Christmas, right?
No, he thinks he's out till January.
Oh, he's out till January.
Yeah.
I think that's one big key, and with the Lakers' depth this year, they're off. I don't see the Mavericks winning that game, so I think it's gonna be a close game, but the Lakers will pull it off.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I don't even have to reiterate any of that. I think the Lakers are going to definitely pull that one off. I just like to see the LeBron versus Luca. I'm a big Luca fan. I think he's great, and I'm excited to see. He's definitely going to be a good pro for his pro career is definitely going to be one of the best of all time. Our last little segment here, topic is, Tom Rinaldi left ESPN this week, went to Fox Sports. So we're going to have a little bit of debate of Fox Sports versus ESPN. And, I was reading an article of why Rinaldi left. He said he wanted to go on to the next thing. He's still making 7 figures at Fox, so money was not a thing because that's what a lot of people thought it because ESPN had all those budget cuts. Were they going to cut Rinaldi making 7 figures? Like, that's a lot of money. So he said it's like with any reporter, you're always excited for the next thing happening, and he feels like at Fox Sports it's something for him to grow. So for you guys, do you guys prefer Fox Sports or ESPN? I know they're like it's a very broad question because both have so many counterparts. ESPN covers, college sports. You have ESPN3, ESPN Plus. You have the SEC Network. You have the ACC Network. Fox Sports has football. Fox has the Super Bowl. Fox has NASCAR too, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 different sports media conglomerates here. But do you think this was a good move for Rinaldi? And what do you guys prefer?
Oh, that's good. Another good question. See, this is why I love this. I love Ariel what she's doing here. See, you're hosting the show. See, I knew once you got your confidence, you can do this. Yes, she's taking over the NR hour.
Take over at the end of February anyway. So
yeah,
I know. I think this is like my strength is like kind of asking these questions of some people.
I love it.
I had my mentor is Eli Gold, so he told me like your goal is like if you're obviously on the sideline, you don't want to stump them because you got 30 seconds and you got to ask them 3 questions. You got to get in and out. But when you're doing like in-depth stuff like this and like you have time, you want to stump your interviewee. It makes them think. It makes it like, oh, wow, like, okay, I actually have to think about this. Like, because a lot of times professional players are like, oh, yeah, like, ask me X, Y, and Z. And okay, cool, everyone asks me that. But you really want them to think about it. So that's one piece of advice Eli Gold gave me. But anyway, let's get back to this ESPN versus Fox Sports conversation. Courtney, what do you prefer?
I still prefer ESPN, even though they're losing a lot of people. Like they're losing a lot of media people. That I'm I love talking about media and talking about the media personalities and who's better, who's this, who's that. Fox they got a lot of talent too, and they've taken talent from ESPN too. Colin Cowherd, Skip Bayless,
Aaron Andrews.
um, Aaron Andrews. So they've taken some of their high profile talent. ESPN losing Tom Rinaldi, that's big, that's huge. But I still think ESPN still has some of the better talent. SVP, Scott Van Pelt. They still got Greenberg. They still have talent. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, and I know there's always the debate of, do you like the debate shows, the shouting matches on the debate shows, but Fox has those same things with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless.
Right.
But I still think ESPN they call them the worldwide leader. They've been the worldwide leader for over 40 plus years. So, but it is strikingly interesting that ESPN they're losing top talent to their rival.
Yeah.
So it has to say something. There's something, and I know with everything that's gone on with COVID, salaries they can't keep all those high price salaries anymore as much. People are losing their jobs. So that's a whole big thing. But even with these guys like Tom Rinaldi, as you said, Ariel, he's still getting 7 figures. So he's still getting paid. So it had to be something that that was there that he wanted to leave. We don't really know. They're gonna tell us, well, it was mutual. I needed something new, which I agree that sometimes that does happen. But for ESPN to lose a lot of this talent they have, but I still like ESPN slightly over Fox Sports, but I like them both.
Yeah. Nathan, what do you think?
This is an interesting debate. I actually outside of my episodes that I've done, I have interviewed over 30 ESPN people and like a couple of Fox people on my show, and it's really interesting topic. And obviously ESPN is going through a lot right now, losing people, and Fox Sports, I mean, they're doing a great job. And but they both networks, they break down the sports perfectly, and even Sports Center, they do the Sports Center top 10 plays. That's what I like. And ESPN breaks it down perfectly, and Fox Sports has their own thing, own style. But it's a hard thing to choose because both are good. In my opinion, both are good. And obviously, like I said, we had both perspectives on the show. So I learned a lot from both sides. So, but Tom Rinaldi, I didn't know about him leaving at first. He's a big name, and he's still getting paid big figures. So, I don't know. For me, I might have to. I'm going to stick with ESPN for me because at the end of the day, even though they're going through a lot, I think they have. They know how to. They have their own style how to cover sports, and they keep people entertained. So.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with ESPN too, because I feel like there's 2 reasons why I think ESPN might have a little bit of edge over Fox Sports, besides like the whole money situation. Is I think ESPN with between the generations, like it's geared towards more the younger generation. I think Fox Sports is geared more towards the older generation because they are taking a lot of the older reporters. Like I've been watching like the Fox Sports sideline reporters and the commentators compared to ESPN's. And for example, Sage Steele, who's one of the best Sports Center anchors on ESPN, used to have the prime time, but then it came out that she's going to be doing the noon show, and a younger person is taking over the prime. I think it's Elle Duncan who's taking over the 6 p.m. Sports Center cast. So that's interesting too. Like I think ESPN's bringing this younger talent in. So that's going to, attract, like us, like who were in our 20s. We know these people compared to Fox. But also at ESPN, I feel like you have a little more freedom to say some completely off the wall things. Like, I mean, you see the morning shows, you got Get Up, you have First Take, you have Stephen A. That's all I'm going to say. You have Stephen A. So you have, that's one person I love to sit down and have a conversation with, is Stephen A. Yeah. Unbelievable, man. I think he's so great. I love how he roasts the Cowboys. No offense, Nathan. I think it's hysterical.
I'm working on getting him on our show. So
I would die. I would literally die.
you didn't
That
answer.
would be big.
I'm trying my best.
I would literally die. But anyway, so I just think it's freedom to say what you want a little bit more and kind of have those hot takes. And also, Mina Kimes is someone, I mean, she does the NFL, football show. Like, she has freedom to roast. Like, she is the definition of a roaster at ESPN, which is really cool. And also, too, I think ESPN also hit the nail on the head with I think that's how the phrase goes, the nail on the head.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. With podcasting is the future of sports, and all of their podcasts, I swear by ESPN podcasts. Do you guys really know any Fox Sports podcasting? Really?
I know
Chris Broussard has one.
Yeah, Chris Broussard. Yep.
Gottlieb. I had Doug Gottlieb on my show, so he has a podcast. And I think a couple other Fox, but the two names I just mentioned, they have podcasts.
Are they just their own podcast, or are they within the network affiliated?
I think their own podcast. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris Broussard's is definitely.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, ESPN, like, Mina Kimes is through ESPN, like her podcast, and there's, I think ESPN hit the nail on the head with that, and also with their radio too. And I think that could be a big game changer for like who we prefer. But I think I'm gonna go with ESPN on that. But Fox News is definitely something to watch. I've noticed they've changed some of their graphics, some of their design looks, which is good because it used to be the same old thing for every NFL football Sunday, the same old graphic for like 10 years. And I'm like, from a media standpoint, because I worked in production, I was like, you got to revamp those graphics. You can't have the same little robot guy do with a little dancey dance thingy, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Yeah, I definitely think Fox Sports is something to, think about. But I think CBS Sports is on the decline.
If you want to make this debate even more bigger, let's add in NBC Sports. How about that? Like, to see what they have done. And no one's talking about NBC Sports. As we speak, I have the game on right now. But NBC Sports does a great job. They have great, amazing people like Michelle Tafoya, and then Chris Sims. They do their own show there. And I think NBC Sports needs to be talked about more with Fox Sports and ESPN, I think, in my opinion, if you want to make this into a bigger debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just to add to that, we talked about, some of the names that ESPN's lost. I think when you lose Trey Wingle, you lost. He just got laid. They let him. They let him go, and I get it. Like, it's transitioning to like the media is going to try to transition to social media, but you can't tell me that Trey Wingle or Tom Rinaldi couldn't work in social media. They couldn't work digital media. And, I know like the traditional sports center is not what it used to be. As many changes that they have done, it's not the same. We get our content in other ways now. It's not like we sit there and watch. Before, when I was growing up, it was more, I can't wait to watch Sports Center. I can't wait to watch Sports Center. I watch Sports Center at 11. I watch Sports Center at 8 a.m. I watch Sports Center at this time. But it's not about that anymore. Right, Scott. Yeah, so it's more of, we get it from Twitter. We get it from other, like you said, Fox News or Fox Sports. We get it from all these other digital. But my thing is, we can't have Trey Wingle work. He could have done that. He was one of the biggest names. But Mike Golick, he was another one that lost his job earlier in the year. I don't know if he's still on ESPN or not, but they moved him from him and Trey Wingle show, and they had Mike and Mike. They moved him into college football. I think he's doing college football on radio now. But this was a big name. But like as you say, Ariel, they're getting younger, and that's what they want to do. And I get that, but it's like you're losing these veterans like a Trey Wingle, like a Tom Rinaldi, which I think is huge because they're too talented. Somebody's going to scoop them up very quickly. Tom Rinaldi just got a job that quick. Trey Wingle's going to get a job that quick of his NFL coverage for the last 20 years have been top notch. So yeah, it's interesting. I like this topic. I really love this topic. I think we can actually do like a sports media show just to some of the big names and who we like and who disappoints, things like that. But I think this is I love this topic.
Yeah. That's something we could definitely talk about when we do this again.
Speaking of Trey Wingle, actually he was on the show way back in the beginning of the pandemic. He came on the show just for a little bit, like 50-minute segment. That was an honor talking to him, and he's obviously one of the best from ESPN. And I agree. I think I agree with ESPN. I mean, I understand where ESPN is coming from, going younger. But like Courtney said, you're losing these veterans and who started it first. But I guess ESPN's goal is to attract the younger kids or younger people in there. So that I guess that's where they're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, and what about Dan? Oh, I mean, sorry to cut you off. And what
No.
about Dan Lebitard? Another one that that was huge, and I get it. Like there were some things he would say, but he had the number one. I think he had the podcast. He had the number one podcast on ESPN. So he was already doing digital type of things, but now he's gone. And I know some of it was his mouth running his mouth and saying some off the wall things, which he's done, but he kept it real. So now he's gone. I mean, you've already lost Jamel Hill. I mean, I can go on a list. Jamel Hill, Mike Smith. ESPN's lost a lot of people, but they still have good. They still have anchors. They still have good anchors. Like we talk about El Duncan. We talk about Sage Steele, Kevin Nagandi. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So they're Mina Kimes. So they have good reporters. They have good. They still do. I just wish that they would go back to their journalism, which they were top notch in. But you know, it's a different ball game now. So I guess they're just trying to adjust with the times.
Yeah. We definitely could have a whole show about that.
I know, right? I can go on and on and on about that.
I tweeted, I like, just talking about commentators. I love, as an analyst, I love Tony Romo. I think he's great. Yeah. People were like, I'm like, he says it how it is. And I think that's
before it happens too. He predicts it before it happens.
And I love that. I love that. And then, we could definitely have a whole thing, but that's, my notes are done. We hit back of it. So we definitely covered a lot. I had a lot of fun. We definitely need to do this more often. So that's all I have from me, guys. So.
I mean, Ariel, man, you took over the show. That's good.
I was hoping I'd be more of like the moderator,
No, it's good.
That was awesome.
That's good. I mean, and it's good for, for you to moderate now and to do these things. And I think you did an excellent job, definitely. And I think you guys just are always, just invite me on the show, and love talking with you guys. And that was a great topic. So I loved it.
Thank you. I was like a little nervous. I was like, because tomorrow with this all ladies podcast, like I'm prepping like a crap ton, because I mean, when I saw who you were invited, I'm sitting here like, one girl's like, oh yeah, I'm the reporter for the Washington No Names. I call them the Washington No Names. And then one girl's at ESPN, and then the other one is, doing something with basketball. And I'm sitting here like, I'm still a graduate student at the University of Alabama. Like, who wants to listen to me? So I will take in, and I'm a little nervous, but I am definitely going to see how, how they are. Cause I think it's, I'm learning from these people because they have a whole heck of a lot more experience than I do. So,
but that's why I wanted you on this. I still want you on the show because you do bring a different perspective. The other three, I've had them on my show. It's like I had you on the show. I've had all four of you guys on my show, and I wanted to, like I said, I did the guys. We had our NBA show, and I thought the idea was like, okay, I want to do an all female, just a round table discussion. Just, be yourself. I know you always come prepared, so I wasn't worried about it. That's why I know you're the name. I wanted to have you on. So, because I know you're gonna bring some heat, you're gonna bring some fire, you're gonna bring yourself. So that's the reason why I wanted you on, and to do your thing, and there's other ladies involved in this, and you guys will learn from each other. So I think you're going to do a tremendous job. So I'm not even worried about that. That's why I picked you. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to moderate and just let the ladies run the world, as Beyonce says, and then do your thing.
Yes, I'm excited for it. I'm like a little nervous, and it was so funny because I don't know if we can stop recording or like whatever, but like it was so funny.